What's going on, everybody? This is Emerald Knight Leon back with another deck analysis. We're a couple weeks from getting BT11. A week after that, we're getting the Nationals. And honestly speaking, I really just wanted to start looking into the next meta because I've been a bit out of the meta for EX3. Not a lot of decks that really kind of spoke to me outside of the ones that I did videos on. But aside from that, though, I did want to start this off with a deck that I built early into the channel. The video in question was about 10 months ago. And it was one that I originally just built because I wanted to have something that was, for the most part, casual. And then I fell in love with it. And that is Bird Gang. Specifically, Tribal Biyomon. A deck that I built not only for casual, but also because I wanted to see if I could. Because we have so many Biyomon cards, so many Birdras, Garudas, and we just got a new Phoenixmon, or we're going to get a new Phoenixmon in BT11. And already, you could go to the World Digimon website or look at their tweets, and they've already showcased a Beast deck that runs it. Basically showcasing the new Raid ability, which I do want to make a video on, and I probably will in the next few days. But I wanted to take it and not just go with beasts. I wanted to just make all birds. And for context, this was the original deck that I built way back when. It was making use of the newly released promo Phoenixmon that gained a security attack for the turn if you had a Tamer in play upon digivolving. And if it's blocked, it trashes the top card of your opponent's security stack, which was really nice. Definitely there were some things in this deck that I felt could have been better. I did not have a lot of ties at the time, so I had to resort to just Marcus, which in the long run of that deck really didn't do it any, justice or service outside of just the three memory gain. But overall, though, I really just want to play with this deck. Starting off with our level 2s, we are running 5 level little babies. We're running 4 copies of BT11's Yokomon. This has the on deletion effect. If you have a red Tamer in play, draw 1. And that's kind of a theme I noticed with this deck and another deck, primarily the Sukamon deck, is that it kind of relies on you dying, your Digimon dying a lot. Which I don't know if that's a dig on how Birdramon in the show, or at least the original show, didn't get a lot of, it was primarily focused on Matt and Ty. And Birdramon never really got a Mega until Tri, sadly. But outside of Yokomon, we are running 1 copy of Kapurimon, just because since we are running 6 Tamers here, the extra 1,000 can come in handy every now and then. For our Digimon, though, we are running pretty much all Biyomon. It's all Biyomon. We're running 4 copies of BT1's Biyomon. It has the inherited of when it's blocked, it gets plus 2,000. So since it kind of aids in with the Phoenixmon, since Phoenixmon's DP is only 11,000 on most of them. I think the only exception to that is the starter deck 1 Phoenixmon, which, if I recall correctly, is like 10,000 or something. I don't remember. But outside of that Biyomon, we are also running 4 copies of EX1's Biyomon, since we are attacking our player, the opponent, directly because we want to get security checks, especially with our EX1 Phoenixmon. We do want to get that draw power here. We are running 2 copies of starter deck 7's Biyomon, just because it's a blocker. It can't attack the player, but, we're not using it for that. We're using it for its blocker. And finally, we are running 4 copies of BT11's new Biyomon. Now, this has a nice on-play effect. It lets you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 red Digimon with Vaccine in its traits, and 1 red Tamer card among them to your hand, and the remaining go to the bottom of your deck. Now, pretty much every single bit Digimon here is Vaccine. Every one. So we're always going to at least hit something. And if we don't hit something, at the very least, we are hitting either our Akiho or our Tai Kamiya here. It also has an inherited on deletion. If you have a red tamer, gain 1 memory. This is mainly used in conjunction with, say, our new Phoenixmon here, because it does have an on deletion effect. For our level 4s, we are running 10 level 4s. We are running 4 copies of EX1 Biyomon. Has the inheritable, when this Digimon attacks a player, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 TP or less. I personally like that effect because it's great at dealing with pesky level 3s such as the Chumon, Chikurimon, basically anything that prevents you from gaining memory off of, except from Tamers, or preventing you from reducing play costs or evolution costs. Just, it takes care of most of those threats, those problems. We are also running 2 copies of BT1's Birdramon. Now, the reason why I'm running this one over the other one, which, if we go back here, is when this attacks a player, it gains 4,000 for the turn, is because of its effect. Because our new Phoenixmon has the ability of on deletion, we can play a Digimon, and then it's the ability to play which Digimon is increased based on how many Tamers we have. We could play this, and if we have another Mon out, we can give that Mon a security attack +1 for the turn, and just go in for more damage. That's why I wanted to run it. Now, we are running 4 copies of the new Birdramon. This is also a blocker, which is nice, and is the reason we're running the blocker Biyomon at 2. It has the inherited of on deletion. You may play a red tamer with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. That means we can either play our Tai Kamiya or we could play our Akiho. Preferably, you're going to be playing Akiho just because of its search abilities and how it is integral to using Phoenixmon properly. But having the ability to play a Tai Kamiya for free is very nice. For our level 5s, we are running 4 copies of the new Garudamon. This is also a blocker. It has on deletion. You may play a red tamer with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying its memory costs, just the same as Birdramon. So if our Phoenixmon dies, and then both of these on deletions go off, because overall, in total, 3 on deletions will be going off, and I'll explain that in a bit. We can choose which ones to go off, and then that can make things a lot easier. We are also running 3 copies of EX1 Garudamon. This has a when attacking once per turn inheritable. When it attacks a player, gain 1 memory. Just making things a little easier. Now, for our level 6s, we're running 2 copies of EX1 Phoenixmon. It has security attack +1, and when this Digimon attacks a player, draw 2. So it just helps us search for our Tamers more for when we use this Phoenixmon. This is the new BT11 Phoenixmon. It has your turn once per turn. When a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, you may activate one of this card's on deletion effects. There's only one. On deletion, you may play 1 red Digimon with bird, avian, beast, 4 sovereigns, or animal in one of its traits except sea animal, and 3000 DP or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. For each red tamer you have in play, add 2000 to the maximum DP you can choose with this effect. We are running 6 Tamers. If we had all 6 out, that is an extra 12,000 DP. Essentially just guaranteeing us the ability to even play a Phoenixmon again from our hand. But the reason why I specifically talked about Birdra and Garudamon and their chaining is because there are 3 on deletion effects here. We can use first Birdramon, play an Akiha. Use second the Garudamon, we play another Akiha. Then we use Phoenixmon's effect in order to get its on deletion. And then play another Phoenixmon. And then we get to activate Akiho's effect, which during our turn, we can suspend it in order to give it rush. So if we planned things right, we kill off Phoenixmon. We play EX1 Phoenixmon. We could have Tai Kamiya, maybe 3 Akihas. That's going to give us the ability to use Rush, Security Attack +2, draw on 2. And just overall, that would be, like, dish out more damage consistently to our opponent. Now, as for our option cards, we are running a few options. We are running 2 copies of Red Memory Boost just for our searching potential and its delay effect. We are running 2 copies of ADP simply because that is a problem with this deck is, yeah, it can die. Our Phoenix Mons are only 11,000 DP, so if we get hit by a option card, that's done. If we get hit by anything else, it's going to die, and we kind of want it to die, which is why we're not running anything that's really going to boost its DP, outside of maybe this Biyomon. For our last option, we're running the new BT11 Crimson Flare. Its effect lets us delete one of our opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less, and if we have a red tamer in play, we can activate one of the on-deletion effects of one of our red Digimon with Vaccine in its trait. So, essentially, then we get to just activate Phoenixmon's effect again. And if we activate Phoenixmon's effect, we can potentially play another Phoenixmon and just start bolstering our field with more Phoenixmons, just chaining everything. And that's the thing I love about this deck, is its ability to, in a few moves, if you get it right, you could just swarm your field with a bunch of high-powered cards. For our Tamers, we are running 4 copies of Akiho. Akiho is on play, reveals top 4 cards of our deck, adds 1 red Digimon with Vaccine to our hand, and then the rest go to the bottom. And then, as I mentioned, its your turn effect is when you play a red Digimon with Bird, Avian, Beast, 4 Sovereigns, or Animal, and one of its traits, except Sea Animal, suspending the Tamer will give it Rush for their turn. And then, finally, we're running 2 copies of Tai Kamiya, just because our first initial swing with our huge stack, we can give it an extra security check. You know, if we're going with the BT11 Phoenixmon, that's a security attack plus 1. So it's 2 checks. If we're going with the EX1 Phoenixmon, that's 3 checks right there. So just having that extra check is nice. Now, for potential cards to tech in, there are some. Yokomon and the Demi-Meramon are decent ones. If you're focusing more on attacking your opponent's Digimon, then Yokomon. If you're focusing on attacking the player, Demi-Meramon. I just wanted to bridge the gap and just use Kapuri because we are using a lot of Tamers. For other Biyomons, we do have the BT2 Biyomon, which has an on-deletion, gain 1 memory. You could essentially use Akiho's effect to use that effect if you wanted. Or any of the other cards that let you use an on-deletion effect. You could just use the Biyomon's effect, gain an extra memory. The promo Biyomon, which was a staple back in BT6 with Jesmon, does have the inherited if you're attacking an opponent's Digimon and your Digimon survives, trigger draw 1. There's the starter deck 1 2-cost Biyomon, which could also work too. And I do recommend a Solarmon if you want to detect that in, just in case you're going against someone who's using something like Death X, or who's just basically hard playing a lot of stuff. We have talked about Birdramon here. Gets plus 4,000 when it attacks a player. I would also possibly recommend a Nagunimon. You are running 6 Tamers, and with the 2 ties not being able to suspend, you could just Digivolve it off of a tie. And it kind of runs the same reasoning as BT5's Omnimon, just for the game if you need it. It's an option. For level 5s, the BT1 Garudamon, which has Piercing, is nice. And it also has an inheritable of if it's blocked, draw 1. And then also BT2's Garudamon, which if it attacks a player, just draw 1. The only reason I'm not using it is it does not have an inheritable that I can really use in the deck very well. It's just kind of a half vanilla type of card. I have mentioned the promo Phoenixmon, which is a nice card if you wanted to use that instead of the EX1 Phoenixmon. The only issue I have with that is if you're going to play it off of the BT11 Phoenixmons, it's not going to get that security attack plus 1 because that's a when Digivolving effect. So I personally prefer just the EX1 because it has a static, non-negotiable security attack plus 1. For option cards, Crimson Blaze, which can only be run at 1, is still a nice card, as well as Atomic Megaloblaster, just board wiping a lot of the small fry stuff if needed. Fireball, if you just want to get a draw 2 and you're not worried about your opponent early game. And then a Lightning Joust, which gives a plus 2,000 and gives you a security attack plus 1. For Tamers, I do recommend maybe teching into Taikamiya. It is a 2 cost. So if you didn't, if you wanted to run something extra and you're foregoing the options for more Tamers, that is an option. I normally never recommend her, but Sora could work. She does give you extra DP. Basically, if one of your red Digimon attacks a player, you can suspend her to give it plus 2,000. So if you are using the EX1 Phoenixmon, bringing it up to 13 can give it a bit more survivability, but not by much. Otherwise, if you don't have Taikamiya, Hiro Amanokawa is a good substitute because of the fact that it is a memory fixer. It's going to set you to 3. And then if you attack with a Digimon that has Gammamon in its name or is a level 5 or higher, you can suspend it to also give you plus 2,000. That is it, though, for this deck analysis. And honestly, I'm excited for BT11. I'm not excited for Black War Greymon, but we'll see how that turns out. I expect a lot of people are going to play it, but I do hope some people are going to, experiment with some of the other stuff. I definitely am excited for Phoenixmon. I have always loved Phoenixmon. For a fun fact about myself, when I first played Digimon World DS, Phoenixmon was my go-to level, mega level Digimon that I used and actually beat the game with. So Phoenixmon and me, we have a bit of history here. But leave a like, comment on what you think of this. What would you change? What do you think of upcoming BT11? And I will see you all in the next video. Peace.